you know exam technique is very important. So when looking at October, November 2016, we've covered the first 4 chapters. Good exam technique, start by looking for this, financial statements. If you see it, go to the question and write down all the ratios that you're going to be requiring, because you are going to need the equations in order to answer the questions. And in this particular paper, you would have gotten 22% for knowing some of those equations. The last bit that we need to look at now is question 5, which is the multiple choice. There's the multiple choice. In the exam, you would have 12 minutes to do this question, and this question is out of 10 marks. Number A says, the total of the debtors column in the cash receipts journal of Jux traders had been undercast by 2,900. If something is undercast, what does that mean? Undercast means? Too low. They've captured an amount that wasn't high enough. Okay, they didn't capture the full amount, basically. Okay, so if I'm looking at the total of the debtors column in the cash receipts journal, if the total was undercast, which one of the following journal accounts will be affected by this? Well, remember, this is the debtors column in the cash receipts journal. So if the debtors column is undercast, surely the debtors column will be affected. There's the answer. Easy, hey? Well done. Nice. Let's look at B.
No, I honestly just did this. I said, there it is right there, debtors column. Cash, it can't go anywhere else.
Correct.
You already gave it to me.
Because the error was in that account, yes. Good. Right, B, choose the correct statement. An asset increases on the credit side, you know that's false, so you can already cross that off. A liability increase on the debit side, you also know that's false, you can already cross that off. Income increase on the debit, you should know that's false, that's also false. An expense increase on the debit, that's true, and decreases on the credit, that's also true. So 4's looking good. 5 says drawings increases on the credit. You know that's wrong. Okay, D for drawings, D for debit. Option 4 is correct. Did you guys choose that? Perfect. Number C, the following information was obtained from the financial records of Better Legal Choice attorneys. You've got the client account balances. So you've got all these different clients. And you've got the trust account balances. What is the trust account balance? It's the amount that they've given you in terms of resources. Do you agree? Okay, it's that deposit that they've given you that you're going to be using on their behalf. Okay, which of the following subsidiary journals will be affected if all of the allowable transfers were made on 31st of March, and if the outstanding balances on the business accounts and trust accounts were also paid on the 31st of March? Okay, so they want to know which journals are going to be affected. Okay, so let's have a look at the information. Client account balances. So these are the account balances that each of your clients have currently. The trust creditors account balances, this is the amount of resources that they've given you as a law practice in order to do certain things. Right, so looking at this, subsidiary journals will be affected if all allowable transfers were made, and if the outstanding balances on the business accounts and trust accounts were also paid. Okay, so obviously if things are paid, business and trust, you would have a trust CPJ, so that one, and you'd have a business CPJ, and that one. Okay, so C and G are correct. Okay, we now need to look at all the other scenarios. Right, so they said transfers, allowable transfers, okay? So, will I have a trust cash payment receipts journal? Yes, I would. Why? Because customers give us resources in order to do the legal work. Okay, and then they said allowable transfers, so you would definitely need a transfer journal. Okay, that's all they said. They didn't say you're earning income. So I wouldn't put fees in. I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't put that because they didn't say anything else about that. They just said allowable transfers and paying. That's all they said. All right, so do we have an option? A is there, A and 4. Okay, so A, B, C, G, yes. Okay, 4. Good. Perfect. D. Echo Traders uses control accounts. Okay, remember control account is a way to manage your debtors and your creditors. Which of the following alternatives will cause the trial balance to not balance? Okay, we know a trial balance should balance. If it does, your debits are equal to your credits. The discount column of the cash payments journal was debited to the discount allowed account in the general ledger. So discount in the cash payments journal. If it's a cash payments, it's what? A receipt or a payment? Well, it's cash payment, so you're paying off your creditors. What discount do you see in a cash payments journal? Discount received, because you pay. Okay, so when you pay, you can get a discount. Does that make sense? Right, so here we've captured a discount that we've received as a discount that we allowed. Okay, that's problematic. Why? Because discount received is a income, so it's a credit. Discount allowed is a debit. It's an expense. Okay, do we know what side we captured it? Yes, they said debited to the discount allowed. Okay, so it's a possibility. Let's see if there's a better option. 2. A credit purchase invoice was correctly entered as 514 in the purchaser's journal, but the account was incorrectly posted as 415 to the personal account of the creditor. The personal account. Okay, so that means that the creditor's ledger is incorrect, the actual specific person's account. But the journal is correct. Okay, if the journal's correct, would the transaction, well, not the transactions, will the T accounts be correct? Yes, they would. Okay, so the account would still balance in number 2. The bank overdraft appears as the credit balance in the trial balance. The balance will balance. Okay, so those two will balance. Number 4. A credit sales invoice of 17 was incorrectly entered as 170 in the sales journal and posted as such to the personal account of the debtor. Okay, will the trial balance still balance? Yes, it would. The trial balance will just balance with a smaller amount, but it will still balance. The bank account favorable appears as a debit balance of the trial balance. That would make the trial balance balance. Okay, so which of the following alternatives will cause the trial balance to not balance? Number 1. A credit for a discount received was actually recorded as a debit bracket discount allowed. Right, so you captured 1/2 of the transaction incorrectly. Okay, is that all right? Last question. E. The following information was obtained from the financial records of better legal choice attorneys. Okay, you've got the same scenarios before: client balances, and trust bank balances, trust creditors balances. Which amounts will appear in the transfer journal on 31st March 2016 if all of the above mentioned clients and creditors settled their outstanding balances on 30th of March? Okay, so they settled their outstanding balance. So if they're settling the outstanding balance, the difference here is how much? 3,500. The difference here, ooh, hold on, wrong person. P and P. S and S. T, and T. Okay, so what's the difference here? It's 1,000. The difference here is 0. And then here, the difference is 3,900. Okay, but we're looking at the settlement. Okay, so obviously, the trust bank balance is what? Trust creditors. What does trust creditors mean? The client owes. Trust creditors. Do you agree? Trust creditor. A creditor is a liability. So if it's a trust creditor, it's the client's account. Okay. So they want to know which amount will appear in the transfer journal. Well, if I'm looking at the transfer journal, the client's account balance is that, and you're going to be transferring it to their trust creditors because they owe. Right, so I'm going to transfer that figure because it's 89, okay, 6,500 and 2,500 for P. So I would go with option 1 here. 2,500, 6,500, and 8,900. Okay, because it's looking at the transfer. Maybe just to show you that again, let's go back to the study guide just to show you the transfer. Okay, transfer journal. Okay, on page 231. Okay, have a look at this. All right, so the recording process in the transfer journal. Have a look. Your trust creditor will be debited and your client will be credited. Okay, so you're debiting and crediting those accounts. Right, the trust check must be deposited to the business bank account. The following source documents are of relevance: the trust checks, the business receipts, and so on. Okay, let's show you the, okay, that was it. They should have given a note about this here. Okay, there. Okay, so before an attorney can make a transfer of funds from his or her trust bank account to the business bank account, the relevant entries must be made in the transfer journal and the 2 cash journals. It is essential that he should, okay, sorry, that's part of the case law there. When transfers are therefore made from the trust bank account to the business bank account, a transfer order must be issued to justify the transfer of funds. A transfer journal is used to determine how much money may be transferred from the trust bank account to the business's bank account. Right, so looking at this, oh, there's it. Okay, so how much do we get? How much do they owe us? Trust creditors. That's how much they owe us. Okay, we're going to be looking at transferring amounts from their account to our account. Okay, so how much is owed here? 6,500. So would you transfer 6,500? Yes, you would. Okay, P. Their client balance is 2,500. What are you going to transfer? 2,500. Okay. Oh, T though actually. T is actually the other way around. Okay, they have more in their account than this. So they would only transfer 5,000. Just be careful with that. Okay, so we're transferring from their client account to cover their creditors. Okay, so option 2 there, not option 1. Okay, transferring funds from one account to another. Okay.